Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Work. Kind of a spur of the moment kind of thing. I'm here with James Gonzalez. How you doing?
I'm good. I had to do some work this morning and just got home and yeah, it feels like I've been doing all these shows and everything. It's been about the same stuff. So October though,
Yeah.
it's a big month. I mean, we got college football, NFL football, um, but now we have the championship series of the American League and National League and the MLB. The playoffs, they've been sort of interesting here, and man, we have some stuff to talk about.
We do. We're down to the final four teams, down to the league championship series in the American League. Texas versus Houston. Texas had to beat Baltimore to get in. They did 3-0 in the divisional round. Before that, they had Tampa Bay swept them too. They won a total of 5 games so far. Uh, Pretty incredible season by Baltimore. And then Houston got their bye week, uh, and Minnesota, they had to go through Toronto, and they did, but they couldn't get against Houston. Houston swept Minnesota, or didn't sweep. It was a 3-1. Houston advances to face Texas. What do you think about the American League?
Well, the American League, starting with the wild card, I sort of knew Blue Jays. It seemed like they were missing something all year long, but they barely snuck in. I know they did get some trade deadline pieces, but you knew it wasn't going to be enough to beat the Twins.
Mhm.
Stupid me, I went with the Jays just thinking everything was fine, but man, they had some great pieces. Lewis was hitting home runs. Correa was leading the team. They had some great starting pitching from Lopez. So the Twins got it done. And then the Rays, they had the three injured starters. They had the Wander Franco situation, injuries. Man, just a plethora of things going wrong for the Rays. And Texas came in, credit to your Rangers, and just overpowered them. It was the Power Rangers, literally. So that was pretty simple. And then that translated to the divisional series against the Orioles. And credit to the Orioles, for having their 100+ win season. Um, the thing with them, they had no postseason experience, and you saw it from Game 1, Chris, where the crowd was taken out of it. Like once the Rangers started to score and score more, the crowd was out of it. Even after a couple of innings in Game 1, the Rangers took the crowd out of the game. The momentum, whatever you want to call it, whether you believe in momentum or not. It was one of those stories where they're a young team, they're ahead of schedule, and the best is yet to come for the Baltimore Orioles. I truly believe that they have Jackson Holiday coming up, and there's going to be more firepower to the Orioles. And then in the other divisional round, the Houston Astros, 1-3-1, like you mentioned, over the Twins. The Twins got that one game in Houston, and Lopez again pitched very well for him, but you knew that the Astros had more power than them. Going back home to Houston, that really helped out things, or not going home, but avoiding going back home with the Twins helped out. And I can remember those Twin fans that were yelling, "We want Houston, we want Houston," after being the Blue Jays. Well, you got them, and you got destroyed. So careful what you wish for. Now, man, you get a championship series which we've never seen before with your Rangers and the Astros, and it's an interstate rivalry. It's been, I think, a while since we've had an interstate championship series. I think either on both sides. I can't remember uh, the last time that there's been a championship series with in one state.
Well,
Um,
didn't the Met? I know it's off baseball, but at
Oh,
one
Maverick
time.
Spurs.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true. That was probably what 2000 something, 6 or 5 or whatever it was, and you get those vibes. But this time, man, it seems like both fan bases really don't like each other. They played each other 13 times. The Astros, I think, won 9 out of the 13. They had a little, not a brawl, but a kind of talking back in August, I believe, when Simeon hit a grand slam and Maldonado came and kind of confronted him. But it's going to be interesting because I don't know if you want to get into it now, but it's it's interesting with both teams because you feel like the Astros should take the series just based off experience, but sometimes you don't trust their bullpen. But the same with Texas. You feel like the Astros have the experience. The Rangers, yes, they do have Seager and Simeon, and then Scherzer is back, but I don't know if he should start ever. He should come out of the bullpen, in my opinion. Um,
yeah.
I'm gonna,
He says he's ready, so
yeah, but man, he hasn't pitched since September, I think 12th or that 7th. He pitched against the Astros and got killed. He got shelled for I think 7 runs that day against Houston. Verlander, I think gave up 1 run in 7 innings. He was amazing. So I don't know if we'll get Verlander Scherzer, but maybe later in the series. But man, it's going to come down to the bullpens, I think, of each team. We know both can hit and hit for power, and it's literally power versus power, and then it just comes down to who can get who out. When it comes down to the bullpen, it's going to come down to the bullpens. I think for me, Chris, I think I'm going to go Houston in 7. But I know everybody outside of Texas, they're probably going to go for the Rangers just because, all of their young talent and what happened in Houston in 2017 and 19. But this is the 7th straight appearance for the Astros in the championship series. This is the first for Texas since 2016, I believe. So, I think Texas is hungry. I think they're a year ahead too. But man, when they made the trade pieces for Scherzer, when they signed DeGrom, before that, when they signed Simeon and Seager, and they have all this young talent coming up, and they made some trades to get younger. Man, this is what they envisioned. This is what they envisioned to happen. When you have Bruce Bochy managing, you have Chris Young making the front office moves. It's really good. And then you look at Houston, they have Dusty Baker. He's an experienced manager, got the ring last year. Wherever he's been, he's had good teams, great teams, and he finally got rewarded last year, and he's trying to go back to back. So it should be a fun series, back and forth, power versus power. It's really anybody's series, honestly. But I'm going to go Astros in 7.
I'm gonna go Astros in 5, only because the way you're saying it's gonna come down to the bullpen. I don't know really much about Houston's bullpen, but I know ours can be good, and then sometimes it can be, I don't know, kind of out of whack kind of thing, where 1 minute you're good and then the next you're not. So I'm just not sure how the bullpen for Texas will be. Do you think that it's just kind of, I don't know, undecided, I guess?
Yeah, that's what's tough about this series. Like I mentioned, it's power versus power. It's experience versus maybe the non-experience of the Rangers. Altuve and Bregman being, and you know what, Chris? Another thing, I was thinking, what's gonna make this series interesting and maybe bring Texas into it more is the errors that we've seen the Astros make this year. I mean, Bregman had a bunch at third base. Altuve's been shaky. Kyle Tucker, he's been trying to throw everyone out, and sometimes the ball sells on him. or the relay will sell on him. Jeremy Pena, he's kind of had a sophomore slump. Remember last postseason he was awesome, and he's not as good, but that just happens when everybody kind of figures you out. You have to kind of read and react and do things differently. But man, I think it's just going to be a fun series. I mean, it's going to be probably better than the National League series.
I think so too. I mean, both series might be good. This one's going to be really good. Over in the National League, you kind of touched on it a little bit. Philadelphia and Arizona, probably Arizona, the team most fans are going to root for. Arizona had to get through Milwaukee in the wild card round. They did that. Then you got in the National League Divisional Series. They had to go through the most fans probably thought the intimidated Dodgers. That didn't work out. Arizona won 3-0. They swept both their playoff games to get to this point where they're facing Philadelphia. Philadelphia, they had to get through Miami. They did that. And then the Braves, who won World Series a couple years ago, they did that. They got through that game. Philadelphia won that game 3-1 in 4 games. So, what do you think about this matchup, James?
Well, yeah, leading up to this matchup, there was the wild card series, and man, everything it seemed like everything was a sweep and really bad. Miami, it was cool that they got in, but they faced the beast that is the Phillies. And you just knew without Alejandro, they were not going to last long with with Miami there. So Philly moved on. And then it was weird too with the Brewers because it seemed like they were kind of missing something all year long too. Remember they finally took the division over from Cincinnati and Chicago. It's just amazing how their season went. But then the hot Diamondbacks came in. Remember I think they clinched a playoff berth the Saturday before the season was over, and they took care of the Cubs. Avoided them to get in. So that was a really good move. But Arizona, man, they went to LA right away. Pedal to the metal. I believe they're up 9-0 at the end of 2 in Game 1 in LA, and that's when you figured, man, the Dodgers are not the same. The Dodgers are done. And you saw that in Game 2, Game 3. They held on, did the Diamondbacks. That was awesome to see. They're just a young, fun team, the Diamondbacks. And they don't necessarily do it by the power like the American League team does, but they do it with running, with stealing, with great offensive. Great offense, but also great outfield defense. Alec Thomas in center, Corbin in right, Pham in left. They have a really great outfield when it comes to defense, and it's something to look out for. They just have to keep Philadelphia in the park, and that's something the Braves couldn't do in the divisional series. That was really, really unfortunate to see if you're a Braves fan, because you had a banged-up Max Fried, you had no Charlie Morton, the bullpen was really shaky, the offense got stifled by the Phillies bullpen. I think that was kind of a surprise. But you did have to face Suarez, which I know he only went 3 2/3 innings in Game 1, but the bullpen came in and did pretty well. Game 2, though, you had to deal with Wheeler. Game 3, you had to deal with Nola, and that's when you knew, okay, the Phillies are legit. Their crowd, you have to mention the crowd in Philadelphia. They got behind the Phillies. I mean, they were just loud all year long. They had a series, I think, before the season was over, or a couple series before the season was over, and it felt like a postseason vibe. And that went right into the Miami series. It went right into the Atlanta series. And now they're even going to be louder starting Monday against Arizona. So Arizona and Philadelphia, of course, nobody thought Philadelphia, I think, would go this far. Nobody thought, of course, Arizona would go this far. But I'm gonna go with Philadelphia in 5 games. I feel like they just have too much. And credit to Arizona, they have Gallen, they have Kelly, they have Seawald from the Mariners. He was traded over, for some infield pieces. That made no damn sense. And an outfielder, but what the Mariners did, that made no sense at all. Trading their closer to the Diamondbacks, they basically gave him up for nothing right now. And he's doing everything right now for the Diamondbacks at the end of their bullpen. It's funny, too, because I think the the Mariners gave up Graveman back in 21, and nobody understood that. Or 19, maybe it was. But they traded him away. And so if you're looking for a closer ever, I guess you go to Seattle, and they'll give you one for pretty much nothing. But yeah, I think Philadelphia, they're going to end the season of Arizona. But man, what a ride for Arizona. I mean, that was fun. Of course, I could be wrong, but I'm going to go Philly in 5.
I'm going to go Arizona in 5. And I was wondering, too, that every team that had 100 win season got eliminated.
Mm-hmm.
Does it hurt to have 100 wins?
The thing is, I remember saying this yesterday on some show, that you're not going to ever tell a team not to go for it and be one of the first seeds and one of the top 2 seeds and not perform well. You're never going to tell someone, oh, don't get hot at the right time or don't play your best, whenever you can. Save it for, August and September and October. Everybody's going to be different, but you're not going to tell a team, hey, don't win, basically. Win later on and get hot. One thing I think they could do, though, is make the the wild card series just one game like it used to be. You can have the same amount of teams, Chris, but just make it one game. Make it one game and one game only. Move on. So then you'll have those teams that are on buys play not the next day, but the day after, and just start from there. That's what you can do. Now, the thing is, with the postseason money and all that, I don't think they want to give up the actual series, so they screwed up in that way. But yeah, just have it at one game. That's all they could do. And then those teams that had buys, though, the first 2 seeds, they better come out ready if you do have the one-game series, and that's done. Since you're crying about it, like the Dodgers and Braves have, you better be ready and you better come out firing if you're saying this. Yeah. You can also say, though, with the Dodgers and Braves, they had pitching injuries, I should say. So that kind of hurt them anyway. Even if they scored enough, they wouldn't be able to stop the scoring of the other team. So I think it just came down to that. But I don't think anything's going to change. But if they really want, change, they could do it. They could ask for it. But I don't think they want to get rid of the postseason money that can be. I know in the American League it didn't really matter. To me, it didn't matter because the Orioles. Hey, they won all those games, yeah, but they were young. Like a lot of them, this was their first postseason experience. Other from Flaherty, other from other people, it was their first time, and they weren't ready yet. And then with Houston, they were the only one that, had the bye and moved on, and you just knew they had the experience to do it. And then they were good enough to move on, and it didn't matter that the Twins came in hot. Other from one game, the Astros just shut them down.
Yeah, because I saw the commissioner Rob Manfred come out and say it's only been 2 years. Give it time about this playoff format. Just give it time. I think people are running out of time.
Yeah, with him especially, he doesn't like to change much or do the right things. I know they allowed the pitch clock to work, and maybe that's another topic we can talk about right now because it came up in my
Yeah.
mind yesterday, and I think I talked
Yep.
about it. But
Go ahead.
the pitch clock, I think it's only affected one time. Brian Abreu against the Twins. I think it was in Game 3 or 4 in that Twins series, divisional series last week or this week, where he got a pitch clock violation. No batter got a strike because of a violation. It was just one pitch clock on. I almost said Bobby Abreu, Brian Abreu on the Astros. But you've seen that. I think everybody's adapted to it now. It affects the pitcher, I think, more than the hitter because the hitter's ready, before that 7 seconds. He's ready and attentive. The pitcher, though, he has to wait, of course, for the batter to lock eyes, and then the pitcher can go through his motion, and maybe he'll have to quick pitch, and it gets rougher as the runners are on, too. But luckily, I think everybody adapted to the pitch clock where it hasn't been a problem so far this postseason. So that's been really good. That's been really good, really lucky that it hasn't affected a championship moment. Just like I said, imagine once the postseason came on and they said they were going to keep the pitch clock, just imagine if the World Series ended on a violation. I don't want that. I don't need that. I need the drama of it. But it's moved every game along. The pitch clock, the clock between innings, everything has moved on very well. What I hate, though, is that it caters to the casuals who don't watch the game, but they're watching now maybe because of, and they're going to the games too, because, hey, things are moving along. It's not, quote, boring. Like, look at my shirt, basically. It says,
Right.
if you don't like it, it's okay if you think baseball is boring. It's kind of a smart person's sport. So I love wearing this shirt every time somebody mentions that baseball is boring. Shout out to my horrible brothers that will say that. They're like, oh, I'd rather just go to the game, or I'd rather not even watch baseball from home. Well, there's strategy. There's so much strategy to it.
Yeah.
But anyway, the pitch clock, luckily, hasn't affected the postseason too much, other from that one time. I think the veterans finally got used to it as the season went along. But remember, the minor league players, they were used to it. In AAA, AA, single A, rookie ball, they were used to a pitch clock. They were used to that. So you see these young kids come up, they're already adapted to it. They're really good. They're telling the boomers, hey, we're here now. You got to adapt to our pitch clock. Go about it.
Yeah.
What do you think about the pitch clock, in the postseason, and then, that they're keeping it in the postseason?
I haven't seen a difference with it in the postseason compared to the regular season, but maybe you remove it in the postseason. I don't know. I only say that because every play matters. Every at bat matters. Every pitch matters. Everything's kind of magnified, kind of like they are in any sport. Every play is kind of magnified. So I think it's that.
Yeah, we'll see how it ends up. But man, I looking at the schedule here before we get out of here, of the championship series of each team, the first game, luckily, Chris, will be Sunday, 8:15 Eastern, 7:15 Texas time. That's all that matters, Texas time. And you know what's rivaling that game at the same time on NBC?
That would be the Bills and New York Giants.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that. So luckily, the the Texas ALCS will be at the same time, and you know what I'm watching.
Yeah.
Game 2 of that series will also be will be on Monday at 6:30 your time in Houston. Both games, as Houston has the home field, Philadelphia has theirs. But yeah, that's a for 6:30 start where you are, and then after that you have at what 7 o'clock your time. It'll be the game 1 of the National League Championship Series against Arizona and Philly. Game 2 of the NLCS will be Tuesday, and then Game 3 will be of Wednesday. Game 3 of the ALCS will be Wednesday at 5. And then Thursday, both teams play. Friday, both teams will play. And if necessary, Saturday we'll have the NLCS. Sunday we'll have the ALCS. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll see what happens. I just can't wait for it.
And this is a best of 5?
No, best of 7 now.
Best of 7. Okay.
Yeah. Now you get to the great part. Oh, that was another thing I heard too. There were Dodger fans mentioning that, hey, it should be a 7-game series. We won all those games, and if we had more games, I think we would have been able to come back and beat the Diamondbacks. But I was like, no, dude. Like, you guys lost fair and square. They were just a better team than you. They were healthier than you. You have no excuses. You won all those games. You should be good. But whatever. That's their fan base.
So you got to win 4.
Yeah. Now you have to win 4 for the next 2 series. Well, Chris, there's no real other news because it's all basically after the series or in between the series. So maybe next week there'll be some other news, and hopefully I'll be here next Saturday in the morning like we would, seeing how this series goes, because at that time next Saturday we'll be into game 5s of the series. If it goes that far in each, we'll know more of the series, and we'll break down both series games that are going on. Maybe there's some managerial moves out there. Oh, let me ask you about Dave Roberts of the Dodgers.
Sure.
I had this talk with other people and Dodger fans, and seeing that the Dodgers won all these games, seeing that they had all these injuries though to the starting rotation, seeing that they might get Shohei Ohtani in free agency. Do you think they should keep Roberts for at least one more? Remember, he signed, I think, for 2 more years after this season. Should they keep Dave Roberts around? Was it his fault that they lost? I'm thinking it's not necessarily his fault that they lost, but he has a track record of blowing postseason games. But I just thought, like, with the injuries, with the chances of next season being so much better for LA, they should give Roberts one more chance. What do you think?
I think you should give him one more chance. I don't think it's specifically you have to blame one person, but at this point, you said not you, but the team said you didn't have a good season, so you're not going to sign somebody else. At this point, anything can, is going to be helpful, and Shohei could be helpful. I just think he wants to stay in LA, whether it's with the Dodgers or the Angels, but I think he just wants to stay in that area. You think?
By the way, he wouldn't pitch either in 2024. That's a thing too. He'll be able to pitch. Yeah, because of the UCL elbow injury. So next year, that's a thing because he won't be able to pitch. He'll be in 2025. So that's another thing that if the Dodgers do sign Shohei Ohtani, that might give Roberts an excuse there too. So,
right.
So you say keep him for one more year?
I do. You can't blame one person for your problems or your mistakes. That's why I think you should just keep him.
Yeah. I think we'll end it here. We'll give final thoughts. Great quick show. Again, there wasn't much on the news front other from everybody covering the championship series. But Man, it's going to be fun. I think both series are going to be fun, especially when the Diamondbacks host Game 3 and 4. If it, if the series goes that far, and maybe another game, but I want to see Arizona stay in the games against Philadelphia. Hopefully, they won't go bombs away on Diamondbacks, and then, man, an all Texas series. I know, Chris, you're this is
I'm happy.
yeah, this is again something that's never happened before with these two teams, because the Astros came in what, 2012 to be in the American League West, and that's the year they switched back to blue and orange as well, and it was the Rangers' time, head to head. It was Texas for so many years, and then they fell off. And the Astros came around, and it was their time. And now it's not really even. I think Astros still own them in the regular season, but man, this would be a time if the Rangers were to pull it off and beat them, that would put them over the Astros in a way, especially if the Rangers won the whole thing. And I know Corey Seager and Semien are hungry to win the championship. I know Seager won one, but with the Dodgers, he won one with the Dodgers. But man, if that happens, that puts the Rangers over the Astros, at least for this year, and it makes the Rangers and the area around there, it makes them not just thought about as just a football town, not just a cowboy town.
Right.
It's a baseball town. It's an actual baseball town. It's not like what Josh Hamilton said.
I was thinking the same thing, yeah.
I remember that because when he came with the Angels, he's like, "Oh, Arlington really isn't a baseball town." And I remember the Ranger fans, they had newspapers, and they put them, when he came up to bat, everybody had their newspaper, like faking that they were reading it. So I always remember that. So I think when you think about it, how they had Hamilton and he decided to leave to the Angels, yikes. Both didn't really do much after that. But now the Rangers could really show everyone that, hey, we rule the West, and if we win it all, we spent for players, but we also drafted well, we traded well. This is the motto franchise if you want to build a contender and you have the money to do it, but you also have the smart people to do it. So a lot is at stake for Texas, for the Rangers. So what's your final thoughts on the game?
Now,
the series?
Yeah, well, when Seager won with the Dodgers, was that back in 2020?
Yeah, he was I think MVP, I want to say, of the
ironically it was in where he's playing,
right. And it was great to see. It's great to see that, because that World Series postseason play, it was like half capacity in Arlington, but it wasn't the Rangers.
Right.
And I remember, I think it was in 21 when they opened up to full capacity. And I think they were playing the Blue Jays on opening day, or at least the home opener, whatever it was. Yeah. It was full capacity. It was full red, white, and blue. And now you're seeing that with the Rangers. I know it's only one game with the Orioles, but now it's a literal showdown in the state. I can't wait for Sunday.
I can't either. It's gonna be a fun week or so of baseball.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. I'm just happy I work in the morning, so I don't have to miss any of the games. That's one thing I like. So I can just come home, throw everything off, and then boom.
Yeah.
That's my final thoughts, Chris. We can run it out with yours.
So, thanks everyone for watching. If you're watching on replay, it's a smart person's game, I guess. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back Saturday morning. Recap all the stuff that happened this week, and enjoy your week of baseball, and we'll catch you guys later.